Hey, so we're going to rock out these notes on percent equations tonight. Make sure you have these notes in front of you. Make sure your name is at the top. Notice today's objective is I can solve percent problems using a tape diagram and the percent equation. Let's think back to yesterday when we did the Skittles activity and we found percents, and we found fractions, we found decimals. Last year, you solved percent problems using tape diagrams or double number lines. I love double number lines. So I'm going to do one with you just to refresh your memory from last year. We start with 2 number lines. You can also do 1, but I like to do 2. This is 0, and this is the percent number line right here. Don't forget, you need to do this with me. This is 100% here. I should have put it up above, but I didn't. And let's just say, because we're working with 40%, I'll just go by tens. 10, 20, do this with me, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, and then there's 100%. Now my next number line are the numbers that I'm looking for. So here's 0, and now remember we're looking for 36 because it says of 36, that means that's the total. The total we always put at the end by 100%. Here's 36. Now, even though it doesn't look like halfway across my number line, this is supposed to be where 50 is. 50% means half. Well, half of 36 is 18. Okay, I've got that. Now, let's see. I wonder if I can make these lines go all the way down. This kind of starts looking like a tape diagram. So I've got 18 here, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces between here and 18. That means I have to take 18 and divide it by 5. That's going to go in 3 times and 3/5. Or 3/5 can be rewritten as a decimal as 3.6. So each one of these spaces goes up by 3.6. So the next one's 7.2. The next one should be 10.8. Oh, the next one, I'm losing this here, should be 14.4, and then it gets us to 18. Now the question was asking, what is 40% of 36? So 40% of 36 should give us 14.4. Ooh, that was a lot of work. Don't be afraid of a decimal. This happens sometimes. We get decimals. It's just the way it is. Make sure you have this. If you don't, pause the screen because I have to scroll down so you can see the next part. Hold on. Okay, this next part, this is where you get to do the fun stuff. That was just way too much work, so we're going to do it differently this time. Did I lose my recorder? No. What is 40% of 36? Let's do it the quicker method that you used yesterday. The word what means X, so please underline that. What means the X. That's the part we're looking for. Is, you already know that. What do you think it means? Yes, it means equals. We talked about this. Of means multiply. And you must remember to change the percent to a decimal or a fraction. You can always change it to a fraction. So let's try this. First of all, we're looking for 40% of 36. So I'm going to change my percent to a decimal by moving the decimal 2 places to the left. Really, I'm dividing by 100. I've got 0.4. Of means multiply, so I can use a dot or parentheses, and I'm going to write 36 in here. Go ahead right now and use your calculators, or do it with me. Sometimes a calculator is a pain in the neck to get out, so make sure you can do it both ways. 6 times 4 is 24, carry the 2. 4 times 3 is 12, plus 2 is 14. Oh, even without my calculator, this is a much quicker method. So make sure you've got this down, and then we're going to try some practice problems. Okay, let's set up the following problems using the percent equation. Remember these things. What means X? Oops, I need my red. What means X? That's what we're looking for. Is means equals. Of means multiply. And you must remember to change the percent to a decimal. So if we want what number is 25%, oh gosh, how do I write 25%? Oh sure, 25 hundredths. Of course that makes sense because percent means out of 100. So these two things are, these three things are exactly the same. 25 hundredths looks like this. So it's 25 hundredths. Of means multiply. I like to use parentheses. That way there's no confusion. Times 60. 25% of 60, if you use your calculator, or even if you don't, 25% is really 1/4. 1/4 of 60 should be 15. Check my work on your calculator to make sure I've done this correctly, because you just never know. And then I'm going to scroll down, so make sure you have this. Two more left to try. 15 is what percent of 60? So we have 15, we know is, the what is the X, and we're looking for of 60. Is what percent of 60? 15 is what percent of 60? So really, I have 15 equals 60x over 100. That means I need to multiply both sides by 100. I have 1500 equals 60x. My next job is to divide. Should get 25. All right, last one to go. I scrolled up. I hope you can still see the screen. How about this one? 15 is 25% of what number? Now we know the 15, and we know is means equals. We know 25% is the same thing as 0.25 or 25 hundredths. Of means multiply. But we don't know what we're multiplying. So this is our equation. Now you know why we spend so much time with equations. Now we can solve by dividing both sides by 25 hundredths. Wow, that's going to be big. 15 divided by 25 hundredths. Let's review long division, shall we? I have a decimal. I can't divide by a number with a decimal, so I'm moving it 2 places to the right so that I now have a whole number. When I do that, I also have to move this 2 places to the right. Inside the division brackets, there wasn't a decimal, which means it's at the end of the number. That's what makes the number whole. I'm adding 2 zeros so that I can move this 2 places to the right. Bring the decimal up. 25 will not go into 15, but it will go into 150, and it will go in 6 times. Oh, look at that. 15 is 25% of what number? It's of 60. All right, hope you got all of that. I'm clearing the screen. Try some problems now.